Okay, I'm back with another NFL 2013 preview. The team I'm gonna do today is the Atlanta Falcons. Um, of course, we all know that they made it to the NFC Championship game. They unfortunately lost to the 49ers, 28 to 24. It was a really good game. The game came down to the last couple of plays, and of course, the Falcons had turned it over on downs, and that's pretty much how that season. That's how that season ended. So, this season, I can definitely say that after losing in that manner, getting that close to the Super Bowl, man, it's just gonna make you more hungry to actually get to the Super Bowl itself. So, um, I expect a good season from this team. So I'm just gonna go off as I did on some of my other reviews. I'm gonna talk about some of the transactions, some of the guys that were lost in free agency, some of the guys that were gained in free agency, and overall team outlook, and also due to strength of schedule. So I want to start with you know guys that left, so I can go ahead and get that out the way. Um, Three notable guys left, and that was Michael Turner, who was a guy who for quite some time was a workhorse for the Falcons. He was getting a bit older. He was starting to slow down. He still put out some solid games, but the consistency that he used to have isn't there anymore. So they released him. John Abraham, who was a good pass rusher. He showed up in games, but he didn't consistently bring pressure, and also he didn't bring pressure very much against good pass blocking teams. So he had to go. Dante Robinson is a guy who they got a couple years back. Um, he was one of the top paid corners. Didn't quite pan out the way they wanted him to. He was okay, but they let him go. Okay, some of the additions, of course, probably one of the biggest ones was Steven Jackson, and that was obviously to replace Michael Turner. OCU Manure was mainly to replace John Abraham, and also they drafted who was in my opinion, one of the better corners in the one of the more pro-ready corners in the draft, Desmond Trufant from Washington. This is the younger brother of Marcus Trufant, who plays for the Seattle Seahawks. I watched some game tape on him. The guy's really good in coverage. Um, moves his feet well. So I expect I expect a really good year from him. He's a guy that's not really getting talked about, but I expect a good year from him. Um, that's really some of the main transactions that happen. Some of the guys who's gonna make an instant impact on the team. Of course, we all know Matt Ryan got signed to the 103 million dollar deal. Was he overpaid? No, because honestly, I think last year, um, in terms of quarterbacks, he played like a top five quarterback in terms of his production. Um, well, then the people will say, well, yeah, he has Julio Jones, he has Roddy White, he has Tony Gonzalez. But, somebody still has to get them guys the ball. Um, the pass blocking was okay. It wasn't great. So the guy still was getting those receivers the ball. So I just don't understand people's hate for the guy. And this coming from a Carolina fan, the fact that I'm even doing this review, shows my unbiased just towards the sport. You know, Come game day, I'm gonna dislike him obviously, but for the sake of this review, I'm gonna keep it as objective. I'm gonna keep it as objective as possible, completely unbiased on what some of the transactions they made and what I expect. Yeah, keep going with that. Tony Gonzalez, he decided to come back for a year because he was a big question mark near the end of the playoffs. A lot of people saying that was his um, last playoff run. That was his last season. I really think them making it to the championship game was, lit a fire and made him want to come back because he really thinks the team can get a little further, and I think they can too. Barring any unfortunate incidents or injuries or something like that. Um, I really think this team is improved honestly over last year's team. Um, like I said, most of the players they kept, obviously Roddy White, Julio Jones, and Tony Gonzalez, with just a combination of those three, and along with guys like at running back Steven Jackson, Jaquiz Rogers, and Jason Snell, easily a top five offense in terms of yard out in yards per game, um, maybe and more than likely points, easily. Um, Defensively, I think the secondary will get Marcus Trufant over Dante Robinson. Dante Robinson was getting older, wasn't as good as in coverage. Um, so getting Marcus Trufant, who's a better coverage guy, and you got Sante Samuel, who's known for making big plays and just making big plays, just in terms of getting interceptions, getting fumbles. Still got Sean Weatherspoon, also OC Umenyiora, who I honestly think at this point, did I say Marcus? I meant to say Desmond Trufant. I apologize. OC Umenyiora, who they got from the Giants. Um, he didn't want to be in New York, so you didn't see really much. You didn't see too much out of him. But if the guy's actually on, if he's actually engaged in the game, um, I expect you'll see a lot of pressure from him, more so than John Abraham, a guy who showed up. Uh, his showing whenever he showed up, it was either against in garbage time or against bad teams. Now, I'm not saying he never did show up, but I think Umanure is more consistent. If his heart is actually into the game. Um, the defense I think is underrated. They're not bad. They like I said, they struggle in terms of pass rush. You can see the Niners game, they struggle in terms of pass rush. So we'll have to see how guys like Umanure will improve that front seven. Like I said, the secondary will get in Desmond Trufant is definitely improved. Like I said, the overall team is improved, much better than last year. On to the schedule. Schedule's actually tougher than it was last season. They have some pretty tough games, and of course the division games are always pretty close. Um, I'm just gonna go through each game. Um, let you know what I think. Of course they have the Saints week one that's in New Orleans. Um, the Saints are pretty tough at home. Still don't, Saints defense won't be able to stop the Atlanta offensive attack. It's gonna be a high scoring game. You see a lot of, you're gonna see a lot of passing yards. But I think the Falcons will have the edge because of their ability. Will be because of their ability to run with the tandem of running backs that they do have. Um, Week two is the Rams. Steven Jackson's old team will be coming to Atlanta. Don't know what we'll see out of the Rams. Jeff Fisher is a good coach though, so he'll have him well coached. Um, that was week two. Week three, he had the Dolphins. You know, you know, we'll have to wait and see with the Dolphins. They got a lot of new pieces. We have to see how they how they'll play out. Week four, we had the New England Patriots. New England Patriots have had a lot of problems. I still think the team is, in terms of defensively, is underrated. Their front seven. So I expect a good game. The secondary is still an issue, so Atlanta could really exploit the secondary until proven otherwise. New England secondary isn't that good. The Jets is a mess over there. They don't know who they're gonna start at quarterback. Um, we'll have to see. Uh, Normally Rex Ryan gets good effort defensively, but it's mainly the offense that's the problem. We're going against a tough Atlanta team. I don't see the Jets doing too much. They struggle with scoring the ball. The Buccaneers are like another divisional game. A new improved secondary with Revis and Golson. We'll have to see how that goes. Haven't seen these guys on the field together. Revis hasn't been on the field in a while, so we'll have to see how they look. The Cardinals still in the rebuilding process. Um, they have Carson Palmer in quarterback, but he didn't look too good in Oakland. And the Cardinals offensive line isn't too much better. So don't know what to see out of the Cardinals. They might still struggle. The Panthers, we always play them tough. Um, that's oh my! I just thought about that game with the Hail Mary to Roddy White. Yeah, the Panthers always play them tough. So expect a good game. The Panthers always show up for a divisional game. So I expect a good game out of that. That was week 9. Week 10 will be against the Seahawks in Atlanta. Well, man, they better be glad it's not in Seattle. God. Um, it's in Atlanta. This is a rematch of the divisional game where the game came down to the wire. Um, Matt Ryan them drove him down the field with believe under 20 seconds. Kicked the field goal and pretty much that was the game-winning drive. So, expect a good game out of this one. Um, the Seahawks have an improved defense. The defense was already good last year. Now that the pass rush is improved. Of course, Russell Wilson has another year on his belt. Uh, so it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be higher scoring than people think. Not as high scoring as a Atlanta Saints game, but it's gonna be more scoring than people think. Week 11 the Buccaneers again. Week 12 the Saints. Week 13 the Bills and their struggles. Week 14 the Packers. You always got a chance when you got somebody like Aaron Rodgers back there. Team around him isn't too good, especially defensively, but you're always gonna have a chance, if he's on his game. Week 15, the Redskins, RG3. We'll see how that goes, and if this game will matter around the 15 through 17 week. Week 16. Unfortunately, this game is played in week 16. This is a rematch of the NFC Championship game that I mentioned earlier between the 49ers, with the 49ers winning that championship game. For both teams, we have to see are these guys going to be resting their starters, because we know these are two of the best teams in the NFC. So we'll have to see if it'll be a seriously played game. Will it have a huge impact on the playoffs? In week 17 will end it with my Panthers. So, I went off the schedule. The schedule is much tougher than last year. I I believe that record was 12-4 if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry. Hold on for 1 second. See. I believe that record was 12-4. Okay, the record was either 12-4 or 13-3. I don't currently have it in my. Damn it. Okay. Of course they finished. They finished number 1 in the division in the NFC. Of course they had the first round bye, so I believe they were 13-3. 13-3. Okay, yeah, they finished number 1 in the conference. I still see them winning the division. Um, Winning the conference is going to be tough with Seattle. With Seattle coming up and San Francisco, so it's going to be tough to win that division. I mean, win the conference. Getting the home field advantage throughout. But I definitely see them making the playoffs easily, winning the division. Um, you know, the teams in that division still are, still struggling, and the Falcons have the most ready team in that division. Obviously. So I could definitely see them winning the division, making the playoffs. Now, what would they do in the playoffs? Matt Ryan has gotten a little bit more experience. He, the team's gonna be hungry to make it back there, to make it to the Super Bowl. Um, so we'll have to see. Whenever you do previews, um, it's always just speculation. What you think, how you think the team season's gonna look without seeing them play a game yet with a new team. So, it's always the wait and see game. But I just wanted to talk about the team, which is obviously a division rival to my team. But like I said, I'm being unbiased. But um, if anybody else has any other teams they want me to do, um, I'll gladly do them. There was some that I was gonna go through. Uh, like I said, if anybody has any new teams or teams that haven't been already mentioned that they want me to go over, I'm getting around to these reviews. I mean these previews. But I've been quite busy. That's why you haven't seen too many up. I've been putting other videos up because I could do them a lot quicker. But I will be getting around to these previews before the season starts. Definitely before preseason. Well, probably not before preseason. Um, but I will try to get to the majority of the team. Probably won't be able to do all of them, obviously, but I'll try to do mainly the teams people want. Um, so if you have any teams, like I said, just let me know. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe.